You know the feeling when you have been studying Slovak using textbooks and other materials, and then you are in Slovakia and you hear Slovak people speak and they sound nothing like the dialogues in your textbook, and they keep using all these words and phrases that were not on your flashcards. A lot of students complain to me about experiencing this, so today I decided to make a video about some common Slovak words and phrases that are usually not included in the textbooks. So I'm going to talk about words and phrases that are to different degrees not standard Slovak. So these are informal or colloquial, and some of them are considered incorrect. So before I get into the list of words, I just want to say two things. First, I know some people think that it's wrong for me to teach these incorrect words. I disagree, because what is the point of learning correct Slovak if that's just not how people speak? The second thing is, this is not a comprehensive list. I could have included many more words and many more synonyms for each of the words, but I really try to narrow it down and choose only the most common words. However, my choice was also influenced by my lived experience of how I speak and how people around me speak. So to situate myself, I am a white middle-class person in my 30s, born and raised in Bratislava. And for sure, in a language, there are always some regional differences, generational differences, and so on. Also just individual differences. You are more than welcome to use the comment section to add to my list any words and expressions that you encounter. Okay, that was a long introduction, so let's start. Let's start with some basic phrases that you are familiar with, like greetings and polite expressions. For example, ďakujem. Ďakujem means thank you, but ďakujem is a long word, so Slovak people shorten it to díky, or to make it even shorter, dík. Ďakujem often goes together with nech páči. Nech páči means here you are or there you go. Nech páči is the official version, but to make it shorter, people often say páči sa or just páči. You probably know the formal greeting Dobrý deň. It literally means good day, but often people simply greet each other Dobrý, omitting the second word. The same thing happens with Dobrú noc, good night. You can simply say Dobrú and people will know that you mean Dobrú noc. Interestingly, it doesn't work with Dobré ráno. Dobré ráno means good morning, and you just cannot say Dobré, it doesn't work. But if you want some other alternative, you can go with Dobré ránko. Ránko is a diminutive, which means it's a cute and playful word. Dobré ránko. For goodbye, we have the full word, Dovidenia, and the short version, dovi. I just want to clarify that all the expressions that I've mentioned so far, even though they are not standard Slovak, it doesn't mean that they are only reserved for informal communication. I regularly use these expressions with people I don't know or in professional communication, not just with friends or people I know well. Even on the contrary, specifically with words like dovi and dobrý, I would never use these words with my close friends or in informal settings, because in that case I would just use the word ahoj or čau rather than dobrý deň or dobrý. So I would only use dobrý deň or dobrý with people who I am in a formal relationship with. Let's talk about those informal greetings now. So I mentioned ahoj and čau. They are very common. They both mean the same thing, so they can be used interchangeably, and they mean both hello and goodbye. So sometimes people will add a little ending to make it more playful or a bit more informal. For example, ahojky or ahojko, čauky or čauko. You will definitely also hear people say ahojte or čaute, but careful, this is something different. This ending has a different function. It is not to make it more playful or informal, it is simply plural. So I say ahoj or čau when I am greeting one person, and ahojte or čaute when I am greeting two or more people. For example, in the beginning and end of my videos, I always say ahojte and čaute, and I do it because I am greeting all of my viewers collectively, so I'm using the plural form. If you want an even more informal way to say goodbye, you can use Pápá. This is originally something that you say when you're talking to children, but you can also use it with adults if they're very close to you. I would say that ahoj and čau are used in casual situations with informal acquaintances and friends in general, and Pápá is used in more intimate situations with children, family members, loved ones, close friends, and so on. Okay, now let's talk about the most basic words for answering questions. Áno a nie. Yes and no. So these are the official words, but often you will hear people say hej. Hej means yes. Another one is no, and this can be super confusing because no means yes. Only in Slovak, no means yes. I just want to say that no doesn't always mean yes. It actually has a bunch of other meanings, but I want to highlight one of them, where basically you just add no to the beginning of any sentence as a filler. So it can be translated into English as well or so. Depending on your tone and the context, it can express anything from hesitation to embarrassment to reflection, even threat if you say it like no. So it has a bunch of connotations. So if someone asks me a question, I can answer no, and then I give my actual answer. So depending on the context, no can mean either yes or this filler word, well. So for yes, we have the alternatives hej or no. And for no, we have ne. Ne means nie, no, and it is super common in my region. And as we are already talking about negation and saying no, I have one more word for you, neni. Neni means nie je, so he or she or it is not. So it is the third person of the word to be. So for example, if I want to say Polina is not a teacher, I can say Paulina nie je učiteľka. Polina is not a teacher, that was the formal version. But if I want to use neni, I can say Paulina neni učiteľka. And this is really cool. You can even conjugate neni. So we have the first person, I'm not, ja som neni. For example, I'm not a teacher, ja som neni učiteľka. Second person, you're not, ty si neni. Third person, he, she, it isn't. On, ona, ono neni. So here in the third person, we are not adding any extra words. And then we have the plural. We aren't, my sme neni, you aren't, vy ste neni. And third person, they aren't, oni sú neni. I want to just point out that, for example, in English, you also have is not and isn't, which is a contraction and it's more informal. But neni, in comparison to the English isn't, neni is much more informal, much more substandard. It's one of those words where some colleagues are definitely going to say that I shouldn't be teaching you this, that it's just like bad Slovak. So far, we have seen quite a lot of examples where we shorten a word or a phrase. For example, Dovidenia, dovi, dobrý deň, dobrý, and so on. But actually there's quite a lot of examples of the opposite where the colloquial word is actually longer than the original one. For example, we have the word dneska. Dnes is the official word and it means today. So dnes is today, but we have also the informal version dneska. The same thing with vždycky. We have the official word vždy, meaning always. And we have the informal word vždycky. Another one is tuná. Tu means here, as in here in this place. That's tu, but people often say tuná. The last word I want to teach you today is moc. Moc can mean either veľmi or veľa. If you are confused about the difference between veľmi and veľa, I have a whole video about that and I will put the link in the description. But for now, I'm just going to say some example sentences so that it's clear. So, for example, Slovenčina je veľmi pekná. Slovak is very beautiful. I can say it more informally, like Slovenčina je moc pekná. So in this case, moc means very. Another example, je tam veľa ľudí, there are many people or there's a lot of people there. So instead of veľa, I can say moc, je tam moc ľudí. So here, moc means many or lots of. I also want to teach you one very cool expression that uses the word moc and it will help you sound totally like a native speaker. So the expression is nič moc. It literally means nothing much, but it means something like nothing special, nothing too impressive. And in my personal opinion, the way I use this phrase, it is a euphemism for bad. When something is bad, but you don't want to say it directly, you say nič moc. So let me give you some examples. If somebody asks you, how are you? Ako sa máš? You can say nič moc. Or for example, if you saw a film and someone asks you how it was, they ask, aký bol film? How was the film? You can say nič moc. Okay, I want to keep this video short and not too overwhelming, but as I said, I have a long list of words like this that didn't make it into this video, so I definitely have enough material for part 2. So please let me know in the comments if you're interested in part 2. Finally, I want to thank some of my former students who inspired me to get interested in this topic in the first place by asking great questions. I actually prepared all of this originally as a lesson for them. So I want to thank Aliki, Halina, Hanna, Marina, Nastia, Julia, Anna and Oleg. Tak, to je koniec. Čaute.